If you're trying to grow your high ticket info business and every time you scale your ad spend, your show rates tank, your lead and call quality tank, and your sales team ends up hating your guts, then you're gonna love this video because today I'm gonna share with you exactly how we're using micro low ticket offers to scale high ticket info businesses in 2025. See, right now, most info businesses are struggling with expensive, inefficient VSL call funnels. And what we're doing instead for our clients is we're quietly using micro low ticket offers to build a list of buyers, get high intent sales calls booked on the calendar for practically $0, and we're scaling the high ticket offers using these micro low ticket products. And we are consistently seeing a 4 to 5x return on spend at scale for these clients that we're doing this for. And when I say at scale, I'm talking multiple 4 and even 5 figures a day in ad spend. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Sebastian Robeck. Here's a little bit about me if you don't know who I am. I exited my 7-figure coaching business back in 2021, and I then went on to work as the CMO for multiple 8-figure info brands like Cole Gordon and Closers.io, Traffic and Funnels, and several more. And at this point, I have personally built and ran multiple 8-figure marketing teams, and I've managed well over 50 million in ad spend for high ticket info businesses. And current day, my team and I here at 7FM are scaling a small handful of clients in the info space up to high 6 and even 7 figures a month. And we're doing it without the founders losing their minds. And here's what I'm going to cover in today's video. Number one, why micro low ticket offers are demolishing in 2025 if you have a high ticket offer you're trying to scale. Number two, the ad funnel and ascension strategy that we're using to do this. Number three, the math and economics behind scaling a low ticket funnel. Number four, how to create your micro low ticket offer, and it's a lot easier than you think. And lastly, number five, I'm going to go through a crucial make or break for this strategy that you must know. So let's talk about the problem. Right now, most high ticket info businesses are spending money on VSL call funnels, but the problem is anytime you ramp past $1,500 to $2,000 a day on a call funnel, and now to be clear, I'm not saying this happens all the time, it's just often the case, and this is from direct experience scaling call funnels to multiple 6 figures a month in ad spend. And I've seen this time and time again, which is anytime you really turn the heat up on a call funnel, it becomes very, very inefficient at scale. Your show rates drop, your cost per booked call goes through the roof. Sales team gets either overwhelmed with all the volume or the sales operations gets overwhelmed, and managing all the throughput and the call flow just becomes an absolute nightmare. And ultimately you start to see your call quality declining, which again, just completely breaks the morale of the sales team, and ultimately closing conversion rates will drop. Then you have cash flow delays with a call funnel due to sales cycle time. So you're spending money to acquire these call bookings, and then due to show rates and the natural issues that come with call funnels like attention span and people forgetting that they even booked the call, you end up shelling out a ton of cash over a 2 to 3 or sometimes even 4-week time frame with really no guarantee that you're going to make any amount of money back on those ad dollars. So you're really placing a large bet hoping that you're going to convert people from an ad to a VSL to a book a call and then to a high ticket. Lastly, when you're heavily reliant on a call funnel, you have a singular point of failure. So if suddenly your call volume drops, well, your entire revenue for the business is going to take a huge hit, and it has a cascading down effect, which is really not where you want to be, especially if you're trying to scale your info business to multiple hundreds of thousands a month or even up to 7 figures a month. You really need to have more stability, and it's hard to have that at scale with a call funnel for the reasons that I just mentioned. And that's where micro low ticket offers come in. So I'm going to briefly cover what these are and why these are working so well right now in 2025. So these low ticket offers, what we found to work the best is to price them between $47 and $97, and I'm going to go through why in just a minute. They also give people a taste of what you do. So the problem is if you're trying to scale your high ticket info offer, you have this market that you're basically trying to convince that you actually know your stuff. You're throwing testimonials at them, you're throwing unique mechanisms and all these ideas and shifting beliefs and all that. But ultimately, what people are craving more and more is an actual experience, a direct experience of what it is you're telling them you can help them do, in order for them to feel comfortable even considering the next step in the process, which is ultimately your high ticket offer. And that's what these micro low ticket products can do really, really well if you do it right. They also create immediate cash flow, and they bring in a much higher qualified lead, aka a buyer, than just an opt-in lead through a VSL funnel or even somebody filling out an application through a VSL funnel. They scale very, very efficiently at high spend levels. Right now, we are seeing low ticket offers scale to $5,000 to $10,000 a day in spend on Facebook and YouTube, and holding very, very well, especially on YouTube. YouTube is a particularly stable traffic platform for us, and I'll go through why that is in other videos. But essentially, what you need to know is these low ticket offers can be very, very stable and efficient at large spend levels, which is really hard to do with a call funnel. Again, anything past $2,000 to $3,000 a day in spend straight to a VSL funnel, it's just tough to create the stability needed, and these low ticket offers do it a lot better. The other benefit of these micro low ticket offers is it diversifies and adds in an additional revenue stream into the front end of the business. And ultimately what this does for your marketing is it makes it a hell of a lot more profitable. So instead of your P&L being 30 to 35% marketing, which again, if you're, let's say you're spending $50,000 or 80 grand a month on ads to a call funnel to make, $250,000 to $300,000 a month, you look at your P&L every month and you're like, shit, we're spending a fuckload on marketing. When you spend the same amount to a low ticket, you can create significantly more revenue on the high ticket. And I'm going to explain why. Because of how efficient it is on the front end through generating day one cash immediately from a prospect or a lead. So let's talk about how these low ticket funnels work and how you can start building one for yourself and your business. Component number one is obviously you have the micro offer itself. This is what everything starts with. You can't just market and sell nothing on the front end. You need to actually have an offer. And again, what we have found to work the best for a micro low ticket offer is pricing it between $47 to $97. Anything higher than $149 to $197 on the front end is just going to significantly increase the cost to acquire a customer. And that's kind of where you start to enter into mid-ticket territory. And I'm just not a huge fan of selling mid-ticket straight to cold traffic. Again, it's a lot harder. You're going to get a lot fewer buyers and therefore a lot fewer opportunities and at bats for your outbound sales team to connect with these buyers. Sure, they might be a bit higher quality, but again, it's just going to be a lot higher it's going to be a lot more expensive to acquire a mid-ticket buyer. So that's why this $47 to $97 price point is really the sweet spot. So we've also found lower price points, say $27 or $37. Those also work well. So I wouldn't rule those out, but again, the sweet spot's between 47 and 97. The format of the actual offer can be things like a mini course, so it can literally just be like 2 videos, 3 videos max. It could be a toolkit. It could be some sort of like a quick win program. It could be a tool. It could literally just be a spreadsheet or a tracker of some kind. It really doesn't have to be overcomplicated. And what we do with every single one of our clients and what we have found to work the best is to just pull from your existing high ticket program curriculum and pull literally, it could be 5% of it, just one particular section or a part of a singular section. So it could be 2 videos. It doesn't have to be anything complicated, but just pull from your high ticket program and literally turn a small section of it into its own little mini course that you sell for low ticket on the front end. And the positioning that we have found to work the best is you don't want to position your low ticket product as, hey, this thing is going to solve every single problem you have. Because number one, that's going to create the expectation in the buyer's mind. And then when that doesn't happen, they're going to be sort of let down. And then psychologically, subconsciously, that's going to create this lack of trust in your business and what it is that you do. So you're going to have a harder time converting these people into a high ticket purchase. The other thing too is if you can solve a specific problem for them, you're actually going to demonstrate to the market and to the audience that you understand what they're going through more than if you were to say, hey, this one thing, this one sort of mini course or little offer is going to solve your entire set of problems that you have if you're a busy mom trying to do X, Y, and Z, or you're a single man trying to find your dream woman. It's like people also just won't believe it. And so you really want to make sure it's solving a specific problem. And it could be so simple. So here's an example. Let's say you're selling a low ticket offer to dog owners and you want to specifically show owners of German Shepherds how to get their German Shepherd to heel when they walk. That's a very specific problem, right? And you can go into the specific pain points behind that and the benefits of teaching your German Shepherd dog to heel, etc. So that's one specific example. So don't feel like you need to, again, solve everyone's problems in this one particular mini course or low ticket product. You want to solve a specific problem with a specific solution. That's what we found to work the best. Now let's talk about the funnel architecture behind low ticket offers that we're finding to work the best in 2025. So, and by the way, it's going to be simpler than you think. We go ad on the front end. So this could be a Facebook ad, a YouTube ad. to a sales page or a landing page. And on that sales page, you're going to have a checkout where they can purchase directly on there, enter their name, email, phone number, and then they enter their credit card information. And the last step here, and this is the secret sauce, by the way, is instead of your upsell, quote unquote, being another product or PDF or more information, instead, what we do is we make the upsell an opportunity to book a call with our sales team. And this works incredibly well. Right now, we're seeing anywhere between 30 to 40% take rates on people deciding to book a call with our sales team. And these calls will specifically go to your outbound setter team. And this works so well because instead of giving people more information and courses to consume, which is ultimately going to delay the cycle time to get people from low ticket to high ticket, instead, you're giving them the opportunity to have a human interaction with your business ASAP and to get more hands-on help and support, which is ultimately going to lead to them wanting to become a high ticket client a lot sooner than if you were to just sell them a $197 upsell and give them more information to consume. So now I'm going to walk you through the sales page structure for these low ticket funnels that converts extremely well on cold traffic. So element number one is you have your headline. Very, very simple, right? So someone hits a landing page, boom, first thing they see is the headline. You want to test different headlines. You want to test problem versus solution based. We have found both to work very well. It just depends on the market and the offer. You want to keep it very, very simple. So an example of a headline would be how to get or achieve or access, etc., the burning desire. So whatever that burning desire is, and this obviously comes from knowing your market intimately well, which is why for every one of our clients, the very first thing we do is we spend probably 70 to 80% of our upfront time and workload understanding the market at such an intimate level that we could speak to it in our sleep. So you insert the burning desire and how to get that burning desire in time frame. Now you do have to be careful with compliance here, so keep that in mind, especially if you're in an industry like making money or health or anything of the sort. You want to be mindful of how you use timeframes, and you can also just not use timeframes at all, depending on the headline structure that you want to use. But you can use a time frame using X, Y, and Z method, tool, product, whatever it is. So that's a very simple headline. Another part of your landing page, and this is optional because you don't necessarily need this in order to roll out a low ticket funnel in the beginning, and you also don't even need one necessarily to scale it. But we are finding that if you have a VSL directly underneath your headline on the lander, you're going to have a lot more success, again, at scale. You can definitely test a few different low ticket offers without a VSL to see which one works the best, which is what we recommend doing. We do that for all of our clients in the beginning if they don't already have an existing low ticket funnel, which is usually the case. And you can, again, test those very quickly without having to make a VSL for each one. Next part of your sales page is a simple checkout element and a product image that displays exactly what the product is. With the checkout, what we're finding to work the best specifically is a two-step checkout where step one is just name, email, phone number, and then they hit submit. And then step two is their credit card info. And the reason this works well is because you're obviously going to have a certain percentage of people who don't purchase. They're going to enter their info, and then they're going to do what we call abandon the cart. And then what we have on the back end is two things. One, we have an abandoned cart email sequence designed to get people back to the sales page and get them to purchase, which works incredibly well. And we scoop up a significant amount of additional low ticket buyers as a result of that sequence. And then secondly, those leads that enter their info but don't purchase the low ticket are going to function as an additional sort of lead bucket for your sales team. So your outbound setters can go and message and call those leads and work them as setters would normally do with any leads. Now, again, even the leads through a low ticket funnel are likely, and what we're finding, now even the leads who don't purchase in our experience, even the leads who don't purchase the low ticket but come through the low ticket funnel tend to be even higher quality than just your standard VSL opt-in or VSL application lead. And then the last component of the checkout is you also want to have an exit pop on your sales page where if somebody, let's say, submits their info, but then they go to just leave the page, you have sort of again, what we call an exit pop, which is just a widget that just shows last second, hey, before you leave, maybe here's a discount reminder, X name of product is going to help you get burning desire without, thing they don't want to do, whatever. Don't forget to get instant access now or whatever. It's essentially just putting the sales offer right back in front of them before they leave. And you'd be surprised how many additional low ticket buyers we scoop up. So it's really about these micro optimization points throughout your funnel to create as much efficiency on the front end as possible. Then after your checkout, you want to have some very simple benefit-based bullets, which are just going to walk through what somebody's going to actually get out of using this low ticket product. We find that 5 to 8 bullets works the best. You don't really need many more than that. Then you want to have testimonials and social proof. Then you want to have a section that details what's actually included inside the low ticket offer. So if it's a course, they get X, Y, Z amount of videos or modules. If it's a cheat sheet, a PDF, you want to go through the bonuses that they get, just to make it very, very clear what somebody's going to get when they purchase. Because if you don't, you're going to have a significant drop in conversion rate. So you want to make it stupid simple and obvious what somebody's going to get access to. Then you want to have a section where you just give a little bit of information about you as the founder. You can very, very briefly tell your story. It doesn't need to be long and drawn out. It can be literally 4 to 5 sentences. Then you want to have multiple CTA buttons or call to action buttons throughout the sales page so you don't lose people and you give people an opportunity to purchase at any stage of wherever they're at on the actual sales page itself. I recommend putting the CTA buttons after all of your most important sections. So think your social proof and testimonials, your benefit bullets, and what's included as a starting point. Then you want to have more social proof, a money back guarantee badge. It's not required, but it does work well. And then lastly, you want to have an FAQ at the very bottom of the page. Now, caveat here, if you just want to test a low ticket funnel quickly and get something sort of MVP up and running, which I'm all for, you can also do so without having all of these elements on the sales page. So for example, you can test a low ticket offer without your money back guarantee badge. You can do it without the FAQ section. You can remove or just not include the second batch of social proof. I would definitely include the testimonials initially, the what's included, info about the founder, multiple CTA buttons. And then again, like I said, you can leave out your VSL. So you can really just test a low ticket funnel with headline, checkout, and a product image. You can even remove the product image as well. Like I've seen many instances where you can get away with that. Checkout, 2-step, like I said, benefit bullets, testimonials, what's included, and then CTA buttons and info about the founder. So you can keep it very, very simple at the start. And again, the key difference here with a low ticket funnel is you're not getting applications or calls on the very front end. Instead, you're going direct to purchase, which ultimately is going to lead to having a list of much higher quality people who have already given you a certain amount of money. So you're not waiting to try and convince someone, from an ad to a booking and then all the time in between. And then if they show up, then hope that they close on the first call. The third component of your micro low ticket offer that is absolutely vital in order to scale it to multiple 4 and even 5 figures a day in spend and use it to effectively scale your high ticket is the ascension strategy, because we're not creating a low ticket funnel as a way of generating multiple 6 figures a month in cash flow just from the low ticket and using that as a way to, make the income for the business. That's not the main bread and butter, right? We're using the low ticket as a more efficient and effective way of scaling the high ticket offer. And so to do that, you need to make sure that you have an effective ascension strategy in place for after somebody purchases that low ticket. And these are what we're finding to work the best to include in your ascension strategy. Number one, again, you want to have your OTO or your upsell be to book a call with a setter. And you can name that call something like an implementation call, a quick start call, a strategy call even. It's not really all that important what you name it. What's more important is that you outline on the sales page. You want to make sure you outline what they're going to get out of the call, and you want to be specific. So you don't just want to say, hey, we're going to show you how to get the most out of your product. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. Or even worse is like, hey, we're going to help you get started. That's even more vague. The more specific you could be, the better. So, hey, we're going to give you an outlined plan of what to do on day 1, 2, and 3 of your product. And then you're going to walk away with X, Y, and Z. So in someone's mind, they can go, okay, I see exactly what I'm getting. They're going to be much more inclined to want to book that call. Next, what we do is once a week, we hold a group onboarding session. New low ticket buyers for the product from the previous week. And we actually have our lead sales closer host these calls. And they run a very, very simple, almost sort of webinar style call where they are genuinely helping people get started with their product. They're giving value, but they're not just straight giving value in the form of here's what to do with your product. They're also weaving in these sort of belief shifting sections of the call and very, very subtly priming people for ascending to the high ticket offer by outlining the journey and the next steps and what's possible in somebody's journey after they go through the low ticket product. So this group onboarding session is a crucial component of the overall ascension strategy for low ticket to high ticket. Next, we have our outbound SDR team. So again, SDRs are setters. If you're doing a few $100,000 a month right now, you probably have some already. And it sounds simple, but I cannot tell you how many times we have clients come to us and they're like, yeah, we have a low ticket funnel already, but it's not working that well. And then I look and, they have hundreds of low ticket buyers coming through every single month, and they have no one on the sales team actually calling and messaging these people and having conversations to potentially move them into the next stage of the process, and also just to help them get started. So it's incredibly important that you have your outbound SDR team constantly hitting up these leads a few times a day. Really, really aggressive outbound outreach is what we're finding to work the best. And the goal with those initial outbound calls should be to help people get started with the product, give them some value, really lead with wanting to help that person, and if it makes sense, to naturally position the call with a closer as the next step, but only if it makes sense. Next up in the Ascension strategy is email nurture. So this is tried, tested, it's timeless, right? Email marketing is never going to go away, and it's still working incredibly well for sending people from low ticket to high ticket. And what we're finding to work the best is a very specific and intentional 21-day nurture sequence that is a mix of storytelling, helping people use the product and get better results from it, sharing client testimonials, belief shifting emails. It's a whole sort of salad, if you will, of email types over the course of 21 days. And this particular Ascension style email sequence is working very well to move people from low ticket to high ticket. The last few things here on sending people from the low ticket to the high ticket program is you want to make sure you are over delivering with value on the micro offer. A lot of people are going to say, don't give away too much, don't give away too much. And I agree. Over delivering on value doesn't mean you need to necessarily give away a ton of content or a ton of stuff for people to consume. What it means is you want to be extremely specific and potent with the problem that you're solving for them in that particular micro offer. So again, you can literally have a micro low ticket offer that is one video that is 8 minutes long, but in those 8 minutes, you help the prospect fix a burning problem and achieve, or at least get a step closer to achieving a burning desire that they have. And that is over delivering on the value. So it's not about how much stuff you're giving them in the product. It's about how much value you're giving them. Next, you want to make sure that you have multiple points throughout your email sequence and just your entire ecosystem as a whole where you are introducing your high ticket offer. So don't get somebody into your low ticket and then never tell them about the high ticket offer. It's like, well, how are they going to ascend to the next stage? So you want to make sure you're mentioning it multiple times throughout the journey in your emails, social posts, your retargeting content, again, with your SDRs, throughout every point of the funnel. And you want to make sure you're positioning the high ticket program as the natural progression after they've gone through that low ticket product. And the psychology here is because they've already given you some money up front, unlike a VSL booking or an application who has literally given you nothing other than a few questions to some answers, this low ticket buyer person is going to be much more inclined to explore the next steps with you in the journey. So let's talk about component number 4 when it comes to scaling a low ticket offer, which is ultimately what matters more than anything, the numbers, the economics. So I'm going to walk you through an example here. And this exact example, by the way, is literally the kinds of numbers we're achieving for our clients right now as we speak in 2025. So let's say you have a $47 front end offer. Let's say it's a mini course for whatever niche you're in. Along with the front end offer, you have 2 order bumps. Let's say one is $27 and another one is $97. Let's just say, for example, right? Then let's say over the course of a month, you spend 50 grand on the low ticket funnel. And let's say your cost to acquire the $47 product on the front end is $100, which I would say is pretty standard. If your low ticket funnel, by the way, is let's say $97, I would expect, and I would, if I were you as the founder, plan for a CPA of roughly $135 to maybe $160. That's to be expected. So let's say, again, your CPA on a $47 product is $100. Let's say your AOV between all your order bumps is $75, which is pretty solid. That's about a 75% liquidation rate. Now, quick side note here, a lot of people and a lot of marketers at this point would say, well, if you have a CPA of $100 and your AOV is 75, well, if you got your AOV up to $100, you would be at break even. You could scale even further. And a lot of people are trying to play that game, which is the AOV liquidation game. And I'm going to get to why that's a mistake in a second if you're trying to use your low ticket to scale your high ticket. But basically, don't get sucked into that trap because it's a big trap and you want to avoid it. So again, let's say with these numbers, your net CPA, so after your AOV kicks in and people purchase the multiple order bumps throughout the funnel, your net CPA is $25 cost to acquire a low ticket buyer. On 50K in spend, you're going to have 500 buyers, right? Because your gross CPA is 100. So you have 500 buyers. Now, with your revenue in the funnel and your AOV being at $75 per buyer, your net ad spend, and this is where it gets really, really fun in my opinion, at least fun for us. So your net ad spend is $12,500. So yes, you are technically spending $50K on ads, but you're out of pocket $12,500. So you basically got $50,000 worth of ad space and customers for $12,500, which is pretty insane. And again, these are numbers we're consistently seeing. In fact, we're often closer to 80 to 85% liquidation, even at $5-6 grand a day for our clients in spend, that is. Now, let's say you have a 40% conversion rate to a book a call, meaning out of your 500 low ticket buyers right here, 40% of them, or sorry, 30% of them, my bad, 30% of them, again, we're just hedging here for a little bit more worst case scenario numbers, say 30% of those buyers converted to the book a call upsell, right? If that is the case, that means you have 150 call bookings going to the setters. And by the way, this is just from the people coming directly through, low ticket, boom, and then booking as soon as they see that next page. This is not including people who are coming back through the emails, through organic after they purchase your low ticket, and your outbound SDR. So this is just like inbound direct booking straight through the funnel, not including anything else. Then let's say you have a 3% low ticket to high ticket conversion rate, which honestly is pretty solid, pretty standard. If you're anything less than 3%, then you have a problem. And obviously anything above 3% is amazing. We're typically anywhere between 3.5% to 4% for our clients. So if you're at 3% low ticket to high ticket, that means that out of your 500 low ticket buyers, 3% of them became high ticket clients, which means you're going to have 15 closed units from those 500 buyers. And let's say your offer price point is 10K. If it's anything less than that, I'd highly recommend, adjusting your pricing to be, ideally you want to be on your high ticket at least 8 to 10K, if not more. Let's just say average price point here is 10K. Well, now you've done 150K in revenue and your net out of pocket ad spend was 12.5. That's insane, right? Achieving those numbers on a VSL call funnel is damn near fucking impossible. And this is coming from someone who has literally scaled call funnels to 7-8 grand a day and spend on one particular VSL, if not more. As I mentioned in previous videos, we scaled the regenerative medicine company to like 24 grand a day and spend, all going to just straight VSL application call funnels. And so it's just, you're never going to see these kinds of numbers with a straight VSL funnel at any level of significant spend. But this is extremely doable and extremely achievable with a low ticket funnel. At this point, if let's say these are the numbers you're achieving, which by the way is very doable if you incorporate what I've mentioned in this video, it really just becomes a game of levers. What levers can we pull? So can we increase AOV? Because that would obviously help. So can we increase how many people hit the upsell page and decide to book a call? So maybe we need to rework the copy a little bit or be a little bit more specific with what somebody's going to get out of that call. Can we increase the show rate on those calls? Can we increase the close rate on those calls? So then it really just becomes a game of levers. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I want to emphasize this because this is what I would call the make or break of your low ticket funnel. Of course, there's many things you got to get right here in order to scale these sorts of funnels. But in my opinion, this is probably the most important, which is if you want to use a low ticket offer to scale your high ticket offer, I highly recommend that you do not over obsess with liquidation and getting your AOV to be as close to your CPA as possible. And for us, we don't play the liquidation game. Instead, what we do for our clients is we play the what levers can we pull that allow us to spend the most to acquire a front-end customer game, which is very different. So, for example, if we're able to get our show rate on those implementation calls up from, let's say, 50% to 70%, well, that's going to make a massive difference in what we're able to spend on the front end, because it means if our initial CPA goes up by, let's say, 10 or 15%, well, that's okay because we're making up for it on the back end. And if we get our close rate to be up by 2 to maybe even 2.5%, again, at scale makes a massive difference. That allows us to, all the way back on the front end, spend more to acquire a customer. And in today's world of advertising costs being higher than they ever were, having the ability to outspend your competition is honestly one of the biggest competitive advantages you can have inside the business. So again, instead of going and tweaking, oh man, if we could just have another order bump in there or another little product that makes someone spend, just an extra $10 with us, that would be amazing. And then our AOV matches, so I can go post on Facebook and say we're liquidating a break even at blah, blah, blah. It's like, That's vanity, because breaking even on the front end doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have more people ascend to a high ticket. And actually, and listen to this very closely, oftentimes you increasing your AOV in your low ticket funnel can actually have a negative impact on people ascending to your high ticket, because in order to increase your AOV, often you're either going to have to increase the price of your order bumps or add an upsell in, which I don't recommend doing, or you're going to have to add in more order bumps. And so again, what you're doing is you're giving people more content to consume, more things to have to go through before actually getting to the next step in your journey, which is ascending to the high ticket offers. So you're actually delaying that process and increasing your sales cycle time unnecessarily, because again, people don't want more information in today's age. They want quick wins, easy implementation, and clear expert guidance. And you can do that with just one low ticket offer. So you don't need to get your AOV up. And instead, you want to focus on ascending as many low ticket buyers as possible to the sales team. Get them on the phone, get them to speak to a human being, because that is going to drive down your sales cycle time much more than any amount of additional courses or materials or smaller products you can add into the funnel to increase your AOV. Honestly, getting liquidation to 100% is kind of a vanity metric for marketers, not actually helpful for the overall business when it comes to scaling and profitability at high spend levels. So now let's talk about the 4-step implementation framework for getting your low ticket offer up and running and to the market. Step 1, identify your micro offer. Again, pick one specific problem that you can solve for your market in 5 to 7 days. It doesn't have to be complex, and it doesn't have to solve all their problems. Next up, you want to pull from your high ticket program. So think and ask yourself, you can also ask your client success team, hey guys, what part of our high ticket program can sort of stand on its own? Maybe it's one module with 3 or 4 videos in it. Maybe it's literally one bonus video. It could just be as simple as that. But you want to be pulling from your high ticket because you know it's proven, you know it works, and you're essentially just extending that out to a larger portion of your market. And the last question you want to ask yourself to identify your offer, or your low ticket offer that is what do prospects need before they're ready for the high ticket? So you can actually use your low ticket offer as a way to sort of cultivate and grow clients into being ready for your high ticket program. Step 2 is create the offer. Very, very simple. Again, you want to keep it simple, 3 to 5 modules max, focus on one specific outcome, and price it at $47 to $97. Don't overthink this, keep it simple. Step 3, build the funnel. As I mentioned earlier, go back if you need to and rewatch this video to get clear on the exact funnel structure to use. Simple landing page, headline, checkout, some benefit bullets, some testimonials, and multiple CTA buttons. Again, you want a very streamlined checkout process. Just keep it simple with the 2 steps, name, email, phone number, and then as soon as they submit that, they go to credit card info. I would not include the billing address. Just give them less to fill out so it can really just be like a impulse purchase just like that. And lastly, you want to make sure you have an immediate delivery system so they get login access to the course, or they get something sent to them directly via email. Let's say it's a link to a PDF, whatever it is. You just want to make sure that they get access to the product immediately. And then step number 4 is your ascension process. So you need to have your 21-day email nurture sequence in place. You need to have multiple points throughout the ascension process where you are mentioning and actively talking about the high ticket offer being the next step in the journey for them. Make sure you have your outbound SDR team calling and texting these buyers as soon as they come in, as soon as possible. Make sure you have your upsell, again, be to book an implementation call. That is a huge component that allows these low ticket funnels to serve as feeder funnels for the high ticket. And you also, I would highly recommend doing the weekly group onboarding sessions for the low ticket buyers. It works incredibly well. Now, here are some common mistakes to avoid when launching and scaling a micro low ticket offer to feed your high ticket program. Number 1, sounds simple, but not having a sales team to support, not having setters who can actively reach out to these buyers, have conversations, have a human-to-human connection and a touch point, and move them further along the journey. If you don't have that, it's just going to be very, very difficult for your low ticket funnel to be as effective as you would like at scaling and enrolling more clients into your high ticket program. You got to have the sales piece in place. Number 2, pricing too high. So what I've seen is very, very common is founders will get in their own heads about this and their ego kind of comes into play here. And You might look at your product and go, shit, this is so fucking valuable, man. Like, this should be $400 or $500. This should be $1,000. Why are we selling it for so cheap? And so what they do is they overprice the low ticket offer, which will, again, as I mentioned, make it very difficult for you to get the volume of buyers that you need at scale to sustainably grow the high ticket programs. So you want to make sure you're pricing between the $47 to $97 price point. I personally wouldn't recommend going any higher than $97 in the beginning. Third mistake to avoid is making your low ticket offer too complicated. People do not want more information in today's age. They need simplicity, clarity, and just step-by-step implementation. Do this, do this, do this, do that. Okay, so you want your low ticket offer to be no more than, again, maybe 2 to 3 videos max. If you need more, so be it. But you really want to challenge yourself to condense it down to just the absolute necessities. And here's the key. Ideally, you want your low ticket offer to be set up in a way where somebody can consume it, take action on it, and most importantly, get a quick win within 5 to 7 days or less. If you can do that, your ascension rate from low ticket to high ticket is going to be off the freaking chain. I promise. Mistake number 4 is not having a strong ascension strategy in place. So again, if you're hoping that people purchase the low ticket and then suddenly magically find your calendar somewhere on the internet and book with your sales team by mistake, not going to happen. You have to remember that even though somebody's buying your low ticket, people's attention spans are still short. They're most likely not going to consume even 50% of the content in the low ticket product. You have to just assume that people, even though, again, they're giving you money up front, you still want to assume that they don't really know much about what your high ticket program even is, what it does, and how it can help them. And as a result, you want to be acting from that place. So you're really coming at them from all angles. They book this implementation call with a setter. There's the group onboarding call. There's the emails. There's the content retargeting. There's all the things that I mentioned earlier. You need to make sure you have those in place. And if you do, that's going to result in a lot higher of an ascension rate from low ticket to high ticket. And the last common mistake to avoid, and this might sound simple, but it's the simple stuff that scales, which is shitty fulfillment. So if the actual deliverables inside the low ticket offer are just not that good and it's all kind of messy and it's not clear and obvious for how someone can start to implement it, you're going to have a tough time ascending people from low ticket to high ticket. You're also going to have an increase in refund rates, which is just not good for any part of the business, your reputation, your brand. It can result in negative reviews. You just don't want that. And so just make your product really, really good. It's that simple. Okay, so that's it for today's video. I hope you found this helpful. There's a lot more I can say on scaling low ticket offers. Of course, there's always going to be nuances to your particular business and your offer. Now, if you are the founder of a high ticket info business and you're doing a couple $100,000 a month, if you're stuck, you're not really sure why, there's these like 1 or 2 critical bottlenecks stopping you from scaling the business to high 6 and even 7 figures a month. And if you would like an extra set of eyes on your marketing, your ads, your funnels, your client acquisition, maybe you even have a low ticket offer right now and you're struggling to scale it to the point where you're doing high 6 and 7 figures a month on your high ticket offer, then I'd like to invite you to book what I call a look at my shit and fix it call. It's very, very simple. And it's exactly what it sounds like. I've done a ton of these over the years. And honestly, I have so much fun doing these for founders. The way these calls work is very simple. We will jump on Zoom, myself and you, bring your marketing team, bring your ad account, bring your funnels, bring your ads, bring your emails, bring everything you're doing right now for client acquisition, and definitely bring your tracking sheets and numbers, of course. And I will, for 45 minutes to an hour, however long it takes, I will literally just look at your shit and I will help you fix it. I'll tell you exactly what to do, what ad angles you should be testing, how you should restructure your ad account, what changes you should make to your funnel, to your ascension strategy, etc. The goal with these calls is, sure, if you want to become a client, great. If not, honestly, these are just tons of fun for me. I genuinely have so much fun helping founders fix the bottlenecks in their marketing and in their client acquisition that will allow them to scale their business and help more people to where they want to. And so if that sounds even remotely interesting, you can hit the link in the description to book directly onto my calendar. And I would love to help you fix your marketing and your client acquisition. You can also pick up the KPI dashboard, which is completely free, in the description as well. And with that said, that's all for today's video. I'm all talked out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.